You're watching TAG TV.
Good evening, welcome to South Asia Newsline. I am Uzma Jafri. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Wednesday, the 20th of June. India's foreign minister meets Luxembourg's prime minister to boost bilateral ties. India repatriates 6 Pakistani prisoners as goodwill gesture. And Taliban members tired of war, claim Afghan officials. And now for all the details. India's Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj on Wednesday held talks with Prime Minister of Luxembourg Xavier Bettel to boost bilateral ties between the two countries. During delegation-level talks, both the leaders discussed ways to expand cooperation in trade, investment and people-to-people ties.
India's Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj on Wednesday called on Prime Minister of Luxembourg Xavier Bettel to enhance bilateral ties between the two nations. During talks, both the leaders discussed ways to expand bilateral cooperation in trade and investment, space, digital India and people-to-people relationship. Swaraj, who arrived in Luxembourg on the third leg of her four-nation tour on Tuesday, became the first Indian foreign minister to visit the European country. She also made a courtesy call on Grand Duke of Luxembourg and exchanged views to further strengthen 70 years-old diplomatic relationship between India and Luxembourg. Later in the day, Swaraj also met Luxembourg's Minister of Foreign and European Affairs, John Esselborn. The two leaders discussed cooperation in trade and investment, still in space, and exchanged views on strengthening India-EU relations. Swaraj arrived in Luxembourg for a two-day visit from France, where she held talks with top French leadership. Earlier, she had visited Italy on the first leg of her tour. On the last leg of her tour, Swaraj will visit Belgium from June 20 to 23.
Security forces gunned down 3 militants in a gunfight in Pulwama district of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province on Tuesday. One paramilitary soldier was also reportedly injured in the gunfight.
Three militants were killed and one security personnel was injured in an encounter in Pulwama district of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province on Tuesday. The gunfight broke out after a search operation was launched by the security forces following inputs about presence of militants in Tral area of Pulwama district. The slain militants belong to Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed militant outfit, reports suggest. A ceasefire was announced during the Islamic holy month of Ramadan by the Indian federal government, which refrained soldiers from conducting any search and cordon operation, although retaliation to unprovoked attacks was allowed. New Delhi accuses Islamabad of arming and infiltrating militants across the border to spread unrest in Kashmir Valley. Pakistan denies the allegations.
In yet another goodwill gesture, the Indian government on Tuesday repatriated 6 Pakistani prisoners back to their country through the Atari-Wagah border. India has secured the release of 147 Indian prisoners, including 146 fishermen from Pakistan this year.
India repatriated 6 Pakistani prisoners through an international border checkpost on Tuesday. The Pakistani nationals, who were imprisoned in different jails and camps, were handed over to the authorities in the presence of Pakistani High Commission officials. According to the Indian Foreign Ministry, India has secured the release of 147 Indian prisoners, including 146 fishermen from Pakistan this year.
मैं लाहौर का रहने वाला हूँ पाकिस्तान का और गलती से बॉर्डर क्रॉस हुआ था तो उसी में जो है वो केस जो है वो चलता रहा है। बहरहाल सेशन कोर्ट ने भी और हाई कोर्ट ने भी बरी कर दिया था। पिछले साल ही अभी हाई कोर्ट से बरी हुआ हूँ तो अच्छा लगा है।
मैं अपने भाई के पीछे है, उसका ज़हन थोड़ा ख़राब था और जंगल था, कुछ पता नहीं चला। BSF वालों ने पकड़ लिया हमको। 7 क्लास में पढ़ रहा था अभी 2 साल हो गए थे।
India and Pakistan share tense relations as New Delhi accuses Islamabad of repeated ceasefire violations in border areas.
Moving on. For decades, Gilgit-Baltistan has been subjected to discrimination and state-sponsored persecution by Pakistan. Political leaders have blamed a new draconian law has been imposed tactfully by Islamabad to further suppress the beleaguered people of the illegally occupied region.
Local leaders in Gilgit-Baltistan have blamed the new Gilgit-Baltistan Order 2018 is in reality designed tactfully to further suppress the beleaguered people of the illegally occupied region. Indisputable. The new law, which was promulgated last month, essentially seizes the power of Gilgit-Baltistan Council and entrusts Pakistan's Prime Minister with indisputable authority of the region. Political leaders have accused the region, which doesn't find a place in the constitutional framework of Pakistan, is constantly made to suffer through devious and suppressive laws.
जब तक गिलगित-बल्तिस्तान काउंसिल कबूल नहीं करती थी तब तक पाकिस्तान की कानून साजी गिलगित-बल्तिस्तान में नाफिज नहीं हो सकती। तो गिलगित-बल्तिस्तान काउंसिल के कानून साजी के इख्तियारात का खात्मा हो।
Locals say that the Nexus is using brute force to eradicate the indigenous people of Gilgit-Baltistan. Gilgit-Baltistan, a part of the erstwhile Jammu and Kashmir province of India, was annexed by Pakistan more than 6 decades ago.
In news from Afghanistan, Afghan officials who spoke with Taliban members during the Eid ceasefire have said many of them acknowledged they are tired of the war and would like peace in the country. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani had announced the unilateral ceasefire, to which the Taliban followed suit, but instead ordered just a 3-day truce.
Senior Afghan government officials who spoke with the members of the terror group Taliban during the Eid ceasefire said many of them acknowledged they are tired of the war and would like peace. According to official figures, more than 30,000 Taliban fighters entered cities, towns and villages during the ceasefire, and some have not returned to the battlefields. This came after President Ghani's unilateral ceasefire, which was hailed by both Afghans and the international community.
ډیر ستړي شوي یو او که جهاد وم ستړي شوي یو او که د وطن خدمت و او که د خارجیانو د وطن نه ایستل وم د دې ډېر په تنګ شوي.
د خوښۍ ځای دا و چې د طالبانو جنګیالي او هغه مسؤلین چې په دې غونډه کې برخه اخیستې وه هغه هم د جنګ نه ډېر ستړي ښکارېدل او امیدواري او غوښتنې دا وې چې دوی به دغه پیغام تر خپلو مشرانو رسوي تر څو د دایمي سولې دپاره کار وشي.
Meanwhile, Afghanistan's defense ministry said the Taliban has, however, resumed their fight in some provinces, but the level of violence by the group has decreased compared to the weeks leading up to Eid. The High Peace Council said the opinion of some Taliban members has changed regarding the war against the government.
Moving on to news from Bangladesh. As the World Refugee Day was observed across the globe on Wednesday, the condition of Rohingya refugees after their exodus from Myanmar is still bleak in Bangladesh. From no basic survival facilities to crippling health situation, the refugees are going through it all.
Nearly 1 million Rohingya refugees in Kutupalong camp in Bangladesh's Cox's Bazar are facing problems of water shortages and landslides. The refugees also fail to receive a decent livelihood in the makeshift camps of bamboo and plastic sheets in the denuded hills. International aid agencies have suggested a big risk of an outbreak of waterborne diseases in Cox's Bazar. At least 12 people, including 2 Rohingya refugees, were killed in landslides and related incidents last week, triggered by pre-monsoon rain in southeast Bangladesh. Nearly 700,000 Rohingya refugees fled into Bangladesh and other neighboring countries following a military crackdown last year in Myanmar.
Preparations for the 4th International Yoga Day are underway in India, where people across the country are practicing and attending different yoga-based events. In 2014, June 21 was declared as the International Yoga Day by the United Nations after an initiative by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Just a day before the 4th International Yoga Day celebrations in India, practice sessions for the occasion were underway in full swing across the country. A group of men from the 23rd Patriot Advanced Capability Battalion on Wednesday were seen performing water yoga in Muradabad city of India's northern Uttar Pradesh province. The water yoga event was organized under the supervision of a yoga instructor from the Art of Living Foundation, a non-governmental organization in India.
योगा जो है बहुत अनिवार्य है स्विमर्स के लिए, क्योंकि स्विमिंग के लिए हमें चाहिए होती हैं श्वासों की शक्ति, और योग जो है हमें देता है श्वासों की शक्ति। जब हम श्वासों के द्वारा नियंत्रण कर लेते हैं तो हम अपने आप अपने स्विमिंग के ऊपर विजय प्राप्त कर लेते हैं।
Meanwhile, in India's western Vadodara city, over 400 people performed 108 Surya Namaskars or sun salutations together to set a record. In 2014, June 21st was declared as the International Yoga Day by the United Nations after an initiative was taken by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The day is now marked by mass yoga practice and other healthy activities.
Devotees gathered in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province on Wednesday for an annual festival to worship a Hindu goddess. The festival has become a symbol of communal harmony as local Muslims make all arrangements to welcome Hindu devotees.
Hundreds of devotees thronged India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province on the occasion of Kheer Bhavani festival on Wednesday. The festival is held annually on the 8th day of the Jyesht month in the Hindu lunar calendar. The Kheer Bhavani shrine, located about 15 miles from the provincial capital Srinagar, annually witnesses the gathering of devotees belonging to different religions who come here to offer prayers to the goddess on this day.
आज ये खीर भवानी के माता रानी का बड़ा दिन है। हम हर साल आते रहते हैं और बहुत अच्छा लगता है। हमारे यहाँ कश्मीरी भाई हैं जो हमें बहुत वार्म वेलकम करते हैं और हमें जिस चीज़ की भी ज़रूरत होती है वो हमें देते हैं। हमें कोई परेशानी यहाँ नहीं होती है। आपस में भाईचारा होता है, हम आपस में प्यार बांटते हैं।
ये सालाना तौर पे मनाया जाता है। यहाँ पे एनुअल फंक्शन होता है इस चीज़ का, और जो भी हमारे पंडित बरादरी चाहे वो कश्मीर में अभी मुकीम है या कश्मीर से बाहर चले गए हैं, इस दिन के मौके पर ज़रूर कश्मीर आते हैं और यहाँ पर देवी के दर्शन करते हैं।
The shrine is called Kheer Bhavani as devotees offer milk and kheer, a pudding, to the deity. The goddess is believed to grant her followers all their wishes. It is a religious festival where Hindus hold prayers and local Muslims make arrangements for the selling of worship material.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. India's foreign minister meets Luxembourg's prime minister to boost bilateral ties. India repatriates 6 Pakistani prisoners as goodwill gesture. And Taliban members tired of war claim Afghan officials. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.
You're watching TAG TV.